Hey, and welcome to Site Spotlight. In this episode, we're exploring datafeature.com, a platform built by a team of web professionals with over a decade of experience in the tech world. We dive into how this site can better organize its vast experience to become the ultimate resource for remote workers and tech enthusiasts alike. The site's already hitting some high notes, featuring perfect high contrast headings that make the content pop and a clear, focused mission to serve the modern digital world. We also take a technical deep dive into performance, explaining how to fix render blocking requests, so visitors aren't left staring at a blank screen while the site loads in the background. Throughout the episode, we discuss some exciting opportunities for growth, such as introducing a split hero design to help users quickly choose between technical tools and educational guides. We also look at boosting the site's human touch by injecting personal authority into technical tutorials and improving accessibility by adding missing form labels for assistive technology. Join us as we show you how to turn a collection of great tech tips into a structured, high-authority knowledge hub. My name is Taco Verdonschot and I'm joined by Iris Gule. Are you ready to talk data, Iris?
I sure am. Are you up for it?
Absolutely. And hey, if you're new to our series, don't worry. We'll keep this honest, actionable, and never mean. So, if you're a website owner, steal these ideas for your own site too, or submit your site to Site Spotlight. Let's go!
So let's just dive right into the split hero design. So one thing that I noticed on the homepage is that they're trying to serve two very different type of audiences at the same time. So on the one hand, you have people who just need a quick technical tutorial, like an IP checker, and on the other hand, you have people who want to settle in and read an educational guide. And because those two goals are very mixed together right now, the overall scope of the site can feel a little bit blurry to me. And to fix this, I'd recommend a split hero layout right at the top of the page. So like imagine having a quick tools section on one side for those utility users and a knowledge hub on the other side looking for people who are looking for guides. And this immediately splits and organizes the site for the visitor so they don't have to go hunting for what they need, and so you're not making it harder for them. Right now, they cover a really broad range of topics, everything from routers and browsers to hybrid work. But when these are just shown as long chronological lists of latest posts, as we can see here, it can start to feel a little bit like a random collection of tech tips rather than a structured resource. And to help them establish themselves as a real authority, I would suggest organizing the homepage into a more thematic buckets type of situation or categories. So by creating dedicated visual blocks, one for router mastery and one for browser performance, and having that split in there, you can show the readers that you have a deep expertise in these specific pillars. And it also makes your site feel like a more comprehensive resource center rather than just a blog.
Let's first talk about cookies. I'm not sure if I should be worried, but on their About page, datafeature.com says, "We are professionals who make an income from the web." In my opinion, if you call yourself a web professional, you should know about relevant legislation, like EU cookie laws, if those apply to you. Noteworthy is that there's no consent requested for analytics, yet the site immediately sets a Google Analytics cookie. That means they've moved into the gray area of the EU cookie law. With GA4, this doesn't have to be a problem if they only use the basic features of Google Analytics. So it's on datafeature.com to check that they've set this up correctly. Now, the other thing we need to talk about is render blocking requests. And this comes from an analysis that I did with PageSpeed Insights, which is a tool by Google to help you find where you can optimize your website even further. Now, what we see here, and let me make that a little bit bigger so you can see it a bit better, is render blocking requests. If you resolve that, you can shave off almost 2 full seconds, which is a lot.
Yes.
What does this really mean? Well, we're used to streaming things right now. So you start a movie and it starts playing while the rest of the downloads happen in the background. so you don't have the full movie downloaded at the time you start watching. A render blocking request is sort of the opposite of streaming. It's like a movie that refuses to show you even the first frame until it has finished downloading the entire movie, including the credits list and the subtitle file. Now, even though the video is ready to go, the screen stays black because it's waiting on those secondary files to arrive. You're stuck staring at a blank screen because the priority is out of order. Now, this can happen on your website too. And the way to prevent it is to defer loading of some files to after something's been outputted on the screen already. But it's all about balance. Defer the wrong files and your page will look ugly for a few seconds, which is a bad user experience as well. So it's a balance game. But it's one you'll have to play, because having your visitors wait over 2.5 seconds for the first paint, as is shown here, that is not an option nowadays. So if you go to PageSpeed Insights, which is pagespeed.web.dev, you enter your URL and you open up the section for render blocking requests, you can easily see where you're bleeding time. And there's a lot of files that you have to investigate. Are these really needed this early on? Or can I defer them, or can I load them in a different way? So this is definitely some homework that you have to do to see where you can optimize your site and if you can shave off those 2 seconds.
Now we're moving over to content, and when I went looking around the website, I saw that the team has over a decade of experience, which is a massive competitive advantage, but sometimes the technical content can feel a little bit dry to me, so it's almost like reading a manual, pretty boring, as I can say. So to really make the content stand out, it would be great to see every guide lead with a personal perspective paragraph maybe. So before you jump into the technical steps of a fix, just add a brief note explaining why that specific problem matters to a remote worker's day. So for example, instead of just saying how to reset a router, you could start with, we know how frustrating it is when your internet drops right in the middle of a meeting. So that small touch of human intelligence turns a really generic tutorial into an expert vetted advice that builds a lot of trust with people and keeps them coming back to your website for more information vetted by you.
Yeah, and if we look at the overall quality of the articles, is that any good? Is it good writing on this site?
Yeah, I do think it's good writing. It's a little bit dry and it's very, of course, it's about how to do something. So you have to be specific. You have to give, you tell exactly how they should be doing something. But they add images, which really helps me setting this access point notification rules. For instance, when I'm trying to do this, I would be lost. So this is really helpful. So it's also the combination of steps, images, that would really help me. So I think that's nicely done.
All right, let's talk about accessibility. We start off with contrast, because anyone should be able to read a website this informative. At least that's the way to maximize the size of your potential audience. And one of the aspects of making your site readable for all is making sure people can see what's on your site. Most websites aren't black text on a white background. They're visually more appealing than that. And that's a good thing. But there's a balance. The Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG in short, are a set of guidelines describing that balance. One of the elements it describes is contrast. To meet the AA guideline, which is the most common one for example, governments, you need a color contrast of at least 4.51 to 1. For the AAA guideline, which is the top-notch, super accessible websites guideline, you need a contrast ratio of 7 to 1 or above, which is really high. The white headings on the black background have the highest contrast, so that's perfect. But there are some elements on the page that do not meet these WCAG criteria. For example, the numbers in the What's Hot section, as you can see them here, those have a much too low contrast. And you can see the same with the text below in the useful resources. So there's some elements that could be better, but overall, when we look at the posts, it's not bad at all. The next thing we have to talk about is form labels. So let's go to an article about optimizing routers. At the end of the blog post, there's a comment form. Let me show you. This is where you can enter your comment, your name, email, and a website. And as a user with normal sight and a regular screen, it's clear which input field expects which data. After all, we see name, email, and website. However, for people who rely on assistive technology, this might not be so obvious. As they browse the page in a different way, the input field without a label is just a blank box. They have no way of knowing what data goes where. And unfortunately, this is the case on datafeature.com. The comment form is missing those form labels. And that means it's extremely hard for people relying on assistive technology like a screen reader to leave a comment. And that's probably not the site's intention. So it would be a quick win to just add those missing labels. And with that, we've wrapped up today's Site Spotlight, where we reviewed datafeature.com, a website that tells you all about online tools and tech things on the web. Is a useful resource, really well built, with some minor improvements that we just suggested. Now, if you're ready for your site to take the spotlight as well, go to progressplanner.com/site-spotlight and submit. And we'd love to put your site in the spotlight. See you next time.
See you next time. Bye-bye.